All right, so today I'm going to do a full-blown tutorial. I want to teach you guys how to use Jetset Cine along with Unreal Engine and a nice Blackmagic camera, in my case, the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K, to make a microfilm or a short film using virtual production. So this is a tutorial for how I did all of this. So it's going to be step by step. Every detail will be covered. So if you're trying to learn how to do this, or if you really want to see the nuts and bolts of how you use Jetset Cine with Unreal to do virtual production, you're going to get it from this video. I should say this series of videos, because there's a lot to cover. So I'm going to break it into 3 different videos. The first one, today's, is going to be about pre-production, because I did end up using Jetset in my pre-production. And the nice thing about this video is if you don't own the Cine version of the app, you'll still be able to do this, I believe. I have the Cine version, but I don't think you need the features that the Cine unlocks to do this. So you can probably do what I'm going to do today with just Jetset. So what you're going to need is an iPhone, PC, preferably, using Windows 11, I would say. 10 will probably be all right, but 11 is probably better. And Unreal Engine. There's a few different versions of Unreal Engine. This one that I'm doing today, I believe I used 5.3.2 to do all this. So I'm going to stick with that for everything that I do in Unreal. Anyway, so those are the things you need. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to open up your Jetset Cine app, or just your Jetset app if you're not running the full version. Okay, we're running our screen record now, so we should be able to see this. Here's the Jetset app. You can see there's a few preset environments, and there's even an X-Wing fighter, it looks like, and a Jeep of some sort, and this room, the Charter House. We're not using any of those. We're going to use our own model. Before we really do anything, I want to make sure I have the project that I want open. Now, you look up there in the left-hand corner, it says Project Microfilm _ 4K. That is the project. That is actually the project that I used on the day I shot the Shakespearean short with my wife. Ferda Zimmerman, actress extraordinaire. However, you'll notice that the wrong model, or the chamber baked, it's one of their default models, is in. We're going to fix all that. Now, if you need to make a new project, I'm going to quickly show you how to do that. We're going to use this one, the Microfilm 4K. However, if you do need to make a new one, you can come over to this. I don't know if you guys saw what I did there. Click on these 3 little dots, and there you go. If I want to make a new one, I hit the plus sign. I name it. You can use the shortcut that shows up in some of your file names. So give that something meaningful. So you've got a project name and a shortcut name that you put in there. And then once you have what you want, you click on it, hit save, and you're up and running. So we're in the Microfilm 4K project. So that's important to remember, because we're soon going to go over to the PC, and we're going to talk about what we do at that point. Anyway, this is the Jetset Cine, Jetset interface. It's one of their default sets, like I said, but you can see how it's working already, right? I can look around on my phone. If I turn off the set for a second, here's what my phone's actually seeing. The room that I'm in here at my house. Crazy, right? So anyway, the next thing we're going to learn how to do is how to get a set. I'm going to shut this down. We're going to learn how to get a set, and then how to load it up in Unreal Engine, and then how to load it back to this phone. So that's the process we're going to cover next. And now we're going to get into what you got to do on your PC. So you've already set up your project in Jetset, and now you got to get your model, and then you want to get it set up to go into Jetset on your phone so you can use it for pre-production. So what we're going to go over right now is exactly how you set your PC up to do this. There's a little bit of software in addition to Unreal that you need to install, how you get a model, and how you send it back over to Jetset. All right, so this is the first thing you got to do. Go to Lightcraft Downloads at lightcraft.pro/downloads. This is the company that makes Jetset. And in order to interface with your PC or your Mac, they have this for Mac as well. I do suggest using a PC if you have access, just because Unreal is much more friendly on a PC. You'd want to download this thing called AutoShot and AutoShot Tools. So you want to download and install both of those pieces of software. Then the next thing you want to do is go to fab.com. And you also want to sign into your Epic Games account. Now we're going to start looking for sets. Now, the set that I used for the Sonnet 27 microfilm is called Cigar Room. So we're just going to quickly see if we can find that. There it is right there. It is Unreal Engine all the way up to 5.5. I did this in 5.3.2, so we're going to stick with that for right now. But it's already saved in my library, as you can see. If you happen to see something you like and it's free, and a quick way to see anything that's free, you can just go, let's see all the Unreal Engine assets. Maybe you're looking for something. Maybe your short film is set in the 1950s. So you want to go 1950s living room, just as an example. There we go. We're seeing some stuff. I don't know if it's any good, but we're going to start with that. And we'll also do this so we can see the free stuff. See what I did? Price, free. All right. So if we find something we like here, none of this stuff looks all that great. You'd probably have to search a little further. But let's say we did find something. Say we like this. I don't know. That doesn't look like the 50s to me. But you see this where it says add to my library? I can do that. And then once I've done that, I can then get that set into my Unreal Engine project. So we're going to go over that next. But that's the first step. Find yourself a set, either a free one or buy one on fab.com, and then add it to your library. Okay, so now we're going to talk about how to get the model that you added to your library in fab.com. How do you get that into Unreal Engine? Let's talk about it. Before we get into Unreal, let's talk a little bit about AutoShot. Remember, I told you needed to download and install AutoShot. Okay, this is AutoShot. The first thing you're going to need to do is if you've been following along with me and you made a project in Jetset, you now need to make a folder on your PC that has the same name as the project in Jetset. You browse to that folder, select that folder, then hit open, and it'll make all these little subfolders in there. So now you've got an AutoShot project. Inside of assets, we're going to put a couple of other folders. One is going to be called USD. We're also going to make one called USDZ. So once we have those two folders, we're in business. All right, so we've got the microfilm 4K folder for our project. We've browsed to it. We hit open. It made those other folders. We added the USD and USDZ folders. Now we want to prep for our models. So we were on the Takes tab. We go to the Models tab. Now, I've already got these pointing to these folders because I did this a little earlier and it's just remembering. But you want to go and point to those two folders you made, the USD and the USDZ folder. First, you see up here where it says USD model temp folder. We would go and now navigate to that folder we just made that said USD. Mine's already there inside your assets, inside your microfilm 4K project. We hit select folder. Same thing with the USDZ, the second one, right? You go to the USDZ folder you made. So this is where we're going to export our model from Unreal, process it, and get it ready to go over to Jetset. We're going to do all this ahead of time so we can just, when we get in Unreal, we've done our work and we're ready to export our model. We know we've got a place for it to go. All right, so let's open Unreal, starting inside the Epic Games launcher. If you've got multiple versions of Unreal installed like I do, it's easier to launch whatever version you want to use inside of here because you can easily change them. We are going to use, as I said before, 5.3.2 just because that's what I did in this originally and that's what I'm most comfortable in. So we open 5.3.2 and we're going to make a new project. That's going to be our next step. So here we are in the project browser. We're going to make a new project. We're going to start here under film/video and live events. We're going to do a blank project. We are going to turn on ray tracing. Let's just call this Sonnet tutorial. I'm kind of walking you through starting a new project, right? Create. All right. So we're going to make now a new Unreal Engine project. Then we're going to take our cigar room set, put it in this project, make some modifications to it, then export it and get it ready to go over to Jetset so that we can load it up on the phone. That's our goal. I think we can do it. All right, so here's our new project. First thing we're going to do is just check a couple plugins. The main one I want to look at is the USD importer and the NVIDIA Omniverse. They are both on. I only want USD importer on, so I'm turning NVIDIA Omniverse off. And then I'm going to go ahead and restart, because anytime you reconfigure your plugins, you do need to restart Unreal Engine. The reason I'm turning Omniverse off is Omniverse is the way I actually used to export my models, and it was the way that Jetset, the guys at Lightcraft, recommended doing it. However, that plugin from NVIDIA is deprecated. They don't have new connectors for versions 5.4 or 5.5. You can only use it in 5.3 or earlier. So I'm not even going to show you how to use that. That's why we're turning off the NVIDIA plugin. However, we're back up. One of the things I've noticed is now I think that my importer, see, my USD importer, I want that on. And we had it on before, if you remember. For some reason, Unreal is turning it off. So we're going to have to restart one more time. I turned it back on. Now we're going to restart Unreal one more time. And now it will be on. And while this is getting started, let's go ahead and take a look. Jump into Epic Games Launcher again, Library again. Look down here. Here's our cigar room environment. We're going to go ahead and add that into our project. Add to project. Let's see, where's our project? Sonnet tutorial, there it is, add to project. Now, I already have it downloaded, so it did it very quickly. If you don't have it downloaded, it will download, so it'll take a little longer. But now, if we head over to Unreal Engine, we want to check that USD importer is on now. There it is, USD importer turned on. And also, if you look down here in our content browser, Cigar Room is there. So let's look at our maps, and let's go ahead and open Cigar Room. Now it's a little dark, but before we really do anything to this map, I want to save it as, so save current level as main, which is at the top of my content browser. By doing this, we replace it, because the old one's just the generic thing we saw when we first came in. We now automatically get this map whenever we open this project. Now it's super dark. I'm sure we all noticed that. Let's just click on one of these light bulbs up here. It's a quick and easy way to deal with this. This message down here, I'm going to don't import that. Not worry about that right now. We've clicked on the light. If you look up here in Outliner, you see I've now selected a point light in Outliner. Look down here in our details. Intensity's 0.14 candelas. Let's crank that up. Oh, look, it's much brighter now. We can see what's going on inside our cigar room a little bit more. Perfect. Since we've saved it as something else, we can do whatever we want, because we have the original if we need to go back. So you navigate around, you can right-click and then drag right and left on your mouse and pivot like this. You can also, with a right-click activated, use A to go to the left, D to go to the right, S and W to go backward and forward. It's like a video game. Q goes down, E goes up. All right, so, and then you can also use the scroll wheel without the right click, and you can zoom in and out like that. All right, so what we're gonna do is clean this up a little bit. I'm gonna click on a few things. See that? I just clicked on it, hit backspace. Bye-bye. These are no longer on my set. Lovely. Now this is a thing, this is a haze, watch. They've added this thing to make it look like the room is smoky. I'm getting rid of that because it causes me problems. And I'm getting rid of the smoking paraphernalia because I will advocate alcohol in this, but certainly not smoking. All right, here we go. We're almost good. When I did this originally, I cleaned it up like pretty much just like what I'm doing here. I got rid of all the smoking paraphernalia, the books. I left the bottle of whiskey and one of the glasses there, just like that, right? Now, the next thing we need before it is ready to head on out, if you hit Control-Shift-S, by the way, that'll save everything. Before we head out to Jetset, we want to do one thing. We want to add what's called a scene locator. And what this does for us is it allows us to orient ourselves in the real world and the virtual world simultaneously. Like we choose a location in the virtual world that corresponds to a location in the real world. And that's how we kind of orient ourselves when we're out in the real world shooting. That'll make more sense in a second. So we go up here where our quick add and we add a basic actor. And let's hit F to frame it. Ignore that. It's my screen calibration. I do recommend always calibrating the color on every monitor you have. And I do that, but I'm a little behind schedule. That's what that was reminding me. Okay. That's the old TV pro in me talking when I say that, right? Calibrate the monitors. Because I worked with Netflix QCs, which are brutal. And if you're not calibrating and doing everything right, they'll murder you. Okay, so here we go. This is what was going to become our scene locator. Right now, it's just called actor. Let's hit F2 and rename it scene loc _ foot. So anything you want to use as a scene locator, like I said, this thing to orient you in the real world, have a relationship to your virtual world, you got to name it scene loc. It can be scene loc _ whatever, but the scene loc's got to be in there. Otherwise, it don't work. It don't work. All right, so here we are. The next thing we want to do is we want to change our orientation. We click on this little planet, change from world to object orientation. And we want to make sure this red arrow, which I believe is your x-axis, is facing in the direction we would want to look. It's on the right? Now when I go back, I pressed E to get that. Now I press W to go back. We look like we're probably oriented. Now we're not on the floor yet. If I hit the N key, it drops me right down to the floor plane. Let's zoom in on this now, our little locator. Let's see. That's it. Hit F. Now I can pivot around a little bit. Zoom in, pivot around. Okay. That's looking pretty good for one of her feet, right? If one of her feet's hanging off the edge of the chair, maybe we'll put it right there. That's what we're going to use as our general idea of where our actress's foot is going to be in the real scene. It's going to correspond to this in the virtual scene. We're going to go ahead and export now our USD. So, export all. Now we're going to go down here, make sure we have USD selected, and we're going to go into that folder, that USD folder we made earlier. Remember that? Production projects is where mine is in Jetset, microfilm 4K, assets, USD, right there. Now I'm going to name this Cigar Room. If I could spell it, Cigar Room. Yay! That'll be the name of my set. Cigar Room, yay. Boom, save. Okay, now there's a couple things we got to do here. We get this little dialogue. What do? Change up axis to Y axis first. Let's go down a little further. We want to turn on bake materials. Now we want to look at the materials that are properties here. We're going to get rid of a few of these. Let's see. I believe you get rid of metallic. Delete that. Specular. Delete that. Keep roughness. Get rid of aristotropy. I don't even know what that is. I don't know. Somebody tell me. Get in the comments. Tell me what that is. Opacity mask. I believe normal stays. Let's delete these. So, your export should look like that. Dreon. Diffuse, roughness, emissive, opacity, normal. And then I believe we're ready to export this thing now. Everything else can stay the same. Let's go ahead and export. See what happens. See if I did it right. We're going to find out very soon. I think we're done. It's already exported. Let's head back over to AutoShot. Let's refresh and we should see our set. There it is. Cigar Room. Yay. All right. So we're going to make a USDZ out of this USD that is then going to be pushed to Jetset on our phone. Here we go. Make USDZ. Make sure you have your model selected up here. Make sure also that the texture size max is original. This will give you a nice high quality model when we're over on the Jetset side. So here we go. Make USDZ. It's going to crunch some numbers, do some calculations, and it's going to make you a new file that's going to be Jetset ready. Look at that. It's done already. Cigar room, yay. USDZ. We've got our phone. So you see up here, the client, the Jetset link is active. Client is iPhone 16 local. That's my phone. Jetset is open on that phone. Our project is open on that phone. We're going to push the file to Jetset. Here we go. So exciting. Success. I believe I am done my job here. Let's go to Jetset. There it is right there. We've already got the project open. I've showed you guys how to do that. We are in the microfilm 4K project. The model that's currently loaded, if you look there, says set 01/19/25. That's the day I actually shot this thing. So it's actually got the model that I shot with. However, today we're going to put our new model in. Now, you see what I did? I went to model, open. And look at this, cigar room, yay, it's right there, USDZ. So when you want to load up a new model, that's the way to do it. You go the little gear symbol, model, open. And if everything worked right when you pushed it over using AutoShot, you should see it right there. And there's ours, cigar room, yay. All right, so now we've got that loaded up here. I'm loading it again. I probably didn't need to do that, but that's okay. See this little arrow over on the right-hand side, you click on that. That gives you your scene locators. Remember, we made a scene locator called foot. Ooh, looks like we're inside the room. But let's figure out how we can coordinate our real room with the CG room. You do that using something called Origin. I clicked on the main menu up there in the corner. Now I'm going to click on Origin. And if you don't see what's happening, we're in this room and it's finding all these potential floor planes. That's what you want it to do. You want it to figure out where's the floor in the room we're actually in. Okay. And then once it's figured that out, we can just stand in the direction we want to shoot in and click in front of us right there. Now, I'm going to show you something. Once I hit OK, boom, there's the chair from our set. Look at that. Isn't that nice? So now I could actually have my actor sit on that chair and it looked like they're sitting there. Now, in terms of live keying, in a situation like I'm in now, I would actually use the AI mat. But if you're in a green screen, you can actually change it to green. We're going to get some funky results here because we're not on a green screen. In this case, I would keep it on AI. And what that does is it actually recognizes the human form. So if somebody's sitting over there on that chair, it's going to look like they're sitting in that chair, the CG room, even though they're actually sitting in that chair, the edge of my couch. So that's how we used it in pre-production. And then I could record a take. If I just click the little red circle down here in the corner, I can actually record it. See, the time code starts rolling. I can shoot a take. It's going to record the audio. Everything's being done on the phone at this point because we don't need to worry about getting a cine camera involved. This is just for rough sketches. This is pre-production. So this is what we did. And then when you want to see them, you can just click review and it'll show you what you just shot. This is cool. It shows you the cam footage, which is actually, yeah, you see, there's where I shot. And then it actually shows you the comp as well. So you can take a look at this stuff and kind of see what's working, what's not, refine your moves, do what you got to do to make it awesome. I hope you guys found this helpful. I am going to be back soon and we're going to go over production. And that's where we're going to get into the cine phase. How do you use a high-res camera? A camera better than just your phone, right? You want something better than that. You want it to be awesome. So we're going to get into that next. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it very much.